Are you familiar with something called the Educational Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit? Well, if you're a CPA, you probably are. But aside from folks who are CPAs, you're probably not. Well, we're going to try to educate you a little bit and about a way that you might be able to help some institutions of your choice. We're pleased to have with us today Scott Simons of the CMA Auto Dealerships, also Mark Black, the superintendent of Fishburne Military School. And if we're going to get into something complicated and it deals with bookkeeping, we better have a good CPA, and we do. Dustin Didowick is here from Didowick and Company. So, Dustin, we're going to turn to you to ask you to explain a little bit what is the Educational Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit.
Well, thank you. This program is available to taxpayers in Virginia. It allows them to receive a 65% credit for their donation. So whatever their donation may be that qualifies for this credit, they get a 65% credit on their Virginia state taxes. It also allows them to, by using that credit, to direct where their funding goes. So rather than paying state tax and allowing Richmond to decide where it goes, it allows the donor to put that into their community and to invest in programs that qualify for this program. Now, without going too deep into the tax code, I want to point out two key facts. Everybody's tax circumstances are very different. However, it's very important to note that you can actually make these contributions in the proper circumstances, and they'll cost the donor roughly 20 cents on the dollar. It's that tax advantageous to the donors. Obviously, that's a best case scenario, so you have to be very specific. And if you don't use it all in the year of the donation, you can carry it forward for up to 5 years. You can use it over 5 years. So if you want to make a donation now, it can cover your taxes for 5 years.
Now, when we're talking educational, what types of facilities are eligible that you can make these contributions to?
Well, these programs are vetted by the state, and the program actually requires very specific students to be eligible for these programs, and the reporting requirements are actually back onto the receiving organization. So one of the things you can trust is that those applications from those receiving organizations are vetted by the Virginia Department of Education, and that it's not on the donor to make sure their dollars are being used appropriately. It's actually on the organization, which will be talked about in a moment, to verify that those dollars are going where they're supposed to go.
All right. So is there a list where I can go to find out, and let's say maybe I have an interest in a certain institution to find out if they're part of this program?
Absolutely. There's a list on the Virginia Department of Education's website. It lists every approved organization where you can make these contributions and provides their contact info so you can get in touch to actually make these donations happen. Again, it's a fabulous program.
All right. So you should work with your CPA or whoever does your taxes if you do want to follow through on this program.
Yes.
Very good. Also with us, we mentioned Scott Simons is here from the CMA Auto Dealerships. And Scott, you elected to take advantage of this particular program. Folks may remember you've been with us a couple other times talking about your work with Fishburne Military School. What made this option attractive to you?
First of all, Jim, thank you so much for covering this topic and having Dustin and Mark and I in this morning to discuss this. The reason why our family chose Fishburne Military School, we run the Augusta Spartan Youth Football League team, plus the Jefferson District Youth Football, and we needed a field to use. We did not have a field, and I approached Mark Black of Fishburne, and he's got facilities over there in Waynesboro, and I said, sir, we would like to talk to you about using your facility, and without hesitation, Mark said, absolutely, you're welcome here. You can use our facilities at no charge. Most of the facilities, if you do use them, it's at least $100 an hour. And he said, you can use our facilities. We want to be involved in the community. And that just thoroughly impressed my wife and I. So we were talking to Dustin for tax strategies and what we could do with the tax dollars that we would have to pay. And Dustin brought up this Education Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit and then gave us a list to look over. And, there was, Fishburne Military School. And we worked with Dustin a little bit more and then worked with Mark. And then we wanted the money that was donated, which now we've donated $200,000. We wanted it to go to local youth. And what's important to our dealerships and our family is we want to make a difference in the youth of these communities, so it'll pay dividends in the future. And I never served in the military, but I have I very much respect our military. I respect any public servant, police officer, teacher, and although I didn't serve, I was named after my uncle that was killed in Vietnam, and we wanted to give back to Fishburne. And I think the first year we gave, it impacted about 18 youth, and we hope it'll do the same. For example, one of our youth football players happened to qualify, and he is going to Fishburne Military School. So that's making a direct impact in our community. And Fishburne's one of the top military schools in the nation right here in our backyard.
And you have some familiarity with it yourself. Obviously, there's something you find very attractive and impressive about the school.
Well, absolutely. In this day and age where we have children that aren't active, they aren't as active as we'd probably like them to be, with Fortnite and different games. These children attending this military school will not only have the ability to go to college, but they will have the ability to go serve in our military and come back and make an impact in their communities. And, it's just a proud day for our family to be able to be blessed enough to give to this fine school. And I suggest any families to go visit Fishburne Military School and put in an application. You would be surprised what's out there for you as far as aid.
We're talking again about the Educational Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit Program offered by the Virginia Department of Education. And Mark Black is with us. He is the superintendent at Fishburne Military School. And Mark, obviously with this being a scholarship program, it does open the door for folks who might not normally have an opportunity to attend Fishburne.
That's correct, sir. The whole premise of the program on the larger scale is to provide children who would otherwise not have the opportunity to have access to an independent education for whatever reason.
Tell me a little bit about the curriculum. If some folks aren't familiar with Fishburne, what exactly you offer, what ages you cover.
So we cover grades 7 through 12. We are a college preparatory school. So as you go through that, it's going to go through your normal college preparatory classes consisting of English, math, science, and social studies. We do have AP courses, honors courses, and a couple of dual enrollment courses conducted through one Blue Ridge Community College and also Shenandoah University.
Now, what are some of the things, aside from the academics, that students receive if they attend Fishburne?
One of probably the biggest things that we provide is a small classroom and also just time management, because the cadets are busy from about 6:20 in the morning until 2200 or 10 o'clock at night, and that schedule is thoroughly filled with activities and academics throughout the day. One of the things that I'm pretty proud about, just came back from the National Military School Association meeting, and there are 3 competitions that they utilize to kind of measure ourselves against each other. One's an academic competition, one's a drill competition, and one's a physical fitness challenge. Fishburne, although we're one of the smaller military schools throughout the country, finished 3rd in the academic bowl and 1st in the physical fitness competition. So for a little school in Waynesboro to beat all of these larger schools throughout the country, it was a pretty rewarding opportunity.
Yeah, and some of these schools you should mention are in major metropolitan areas, and they're how many times bigger than Fishburne?
I would say the average population of most of these schools is 250. 350 is kind of the goal for a lot of schools, and our population has held steady for about the last 5 years at 150. We'd like to increase that, and we would like to utilize this program to do so.
Now, if a parent in particular is listening this morning and they're wondering if their student would be eligible for something like this, what are some of the considerations that you think they should take into account?
I think the biggest thing that we provide is, one, we're small and we're mighty in that you can't hide. And if anybody has ever raised children, they know that they always have to have some type of oversight over top of them, and it's important for us that if they are doing something well, the best way to change human behavior is to encourage people when they do something right. Now, if they do something wrong, they will receive the modicum of correction, but probably the biggest thing is, due to the fact that we are small, the cadets are not going to be able to hide, and we're going to be able to see whether or not they're doing well or doing poorly and make the appropriate either adjustment or compliment on them to make sure that they get recognized for that effort.
Very good. Now, if folks want to find out more about Fishburne, how can they do that?
You can go to our website, which is www.fishburne.org, or you can just type in to Google, which I think that's the normal for everybody in this day and age, just Fishburne Military School, and you'll see our information pop up. Of course, if they want to contact us by phone, there's a number of 540-946-7700, and you can just follow prompts, and they will be able to get to our admissions folks, and they would be happy to talk to them and walk them through the process.
Very good. Mark Black is the superintendent of Fishburne Military School, as we mentioned. Dustin Didewick is a CPA with Didewick and Company. Again, Dustin, if anybody wants to find out more about the Educational Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit Program, their CPA is the person they need to talk to.
That's absolutely right. They need to know what their tax situation looks like going into making the contributions so they can make the best decision for them.
Very good. And also Scott Simons with us from the CMA Auto Dealerships. Gentlemen, we thank you all for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.